Sterling to win that belt, man. Petrian was putting on a clinical. What's up, guys? Coming to you from Los Angeles. Hope you're all doing good. And today I'm bringing y'all a video about the UFC fights that took place on Saturday, 2 days ago. And the main event was Jan Blachowicz against Israel Adesanya. The co-main event was Amanda Nunes against Megan Anderson, and then the third fight was the Aljamain Sterling and Petrian fight, in which all three fights were for the belt. And for those of you that watched the entire fight, then you know that it was a very entertaining fight. The third fight was very controversial. I think that they should have honestly did a no contest for the fight. Just because I personally thought that Aljamain Sterling was getting a one-sided beatdown, and for all the people that thought that Aljamain Sterling was actually doing really good, I tell you this: if you guys actually go back and watch the fight very closely, you'll actually come to realize that Aljamain Sterling was actually all over the place in that fight and wasn't really connecting any powerful shots, and was just lousy on his feet, and could have gone out at any given point because the dude was just getting hurt, and Petrian was putting on such a good clinical on Aljamain Sterling to the point where Aljamain wasn't really doing anything to Petrian. The impression I got when I was watching the fight was that Petrian was literally clowning Aljamain Sterling throughout the entire fight and just blocking the shots and pretty much just having him chase him down and then get connected. So starting this little overview of UFC 259 from the third fight, I just want to say that the first thing that crossed my mind was me screaming over to Dana White to tell Petrian to pay him his win money, because that guy literally won the fight. I feel like the ref was a bit at fault too, because these guys trying to slowly have one foot on the one knee on the ground, and one hand down, and etc. The shit causes confusion. So the fact that the ref wasn't really on top of it, um you know pretty much led to this result, because this is a fight, guys. This isn't hockey, man. You will take any advantage that you can, and Petter probably got confused too, and threw the knee, resulting in what happened. But whenever we look at you know as whenever we look at the entire fight and how it was playing out to that point, we would be able to know that Petrian was beating Aljamain Sterling up. And for one of those judges that had Aljamain winning, is absolutely crazy, because Aljamain wasn't winning that fight. He wasn't even close to winning that fight. He didn't even scratch Petrian, with all due respect. Yeah, he got him a couple times, but just those couple times, um, you know, and Petrian was on his way to win that fight, and the way he was doing it was absolutely spectacular. And for Aljamain Sterling, who was literally losing the entire fight, to get the belt wrapped around his waist, absolutely pisses me off. And I didn't bet on this fight, though I did want to. But for those that did bet, think about it. For them to lose their money that way, whenever Petrian was actually winning the fight, and lost because of that knee, I think the fight should have been a no contest, because giving the belt to Aljo certainly doesn't make any sense. I think the UFC should actually strip Aljamain Sterling just because he wasn't really winning that fight, and you know it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you give him the belt? The guy wasn't winning. He wasn't even putting on a show. The guy was all over the place. I was watching that fight before Petrian, not for Aljamain Sterling. So I mean, that's my 2 cents for for that fight. But going to the co-main event, I mean, again, and this is something that I'm gonna have to criticize too now, and be a bit of a critic about. If you throw any guy with a friggin' gay dude, they're gonna beat him up 10 times out of 9, or 10 times out of 10. So it's kind of the same thing. You throw in a freaking manly lesbian with, you know, a straight woman. Well, it's pretty obvious that the lesbian is gonna win, especially in a fight, where she has the freaking, or did she, or yeah, where she would have, I don't even want to call him a she, but where she would pretty much have, the masculine, um, uh, you know, capability over the regular women fighters, and that's exactly what's happening. Amanda Nunes is taking advantage of that, and she's winning her fights, and she's apparently happy about it. Well, maybe we should do a lesbian versus lesbian, and then we'll see how much better that fight is. But yeah, right now, I mean, think about it, guys. If there's a gay dude that comes and stands right in front of you, what is the likelihood that you're gonna beat him up? I think it would be pretty darn high. So, um, yeah. Uh, I mean, what did those, that, thought that Megan could have won expect? I mean, she's pretty much fighting a man, but she's not actually a man. But in the women's league, lesbians are considered men because look at what Amanda's able to do to her opponents. So, I mean, yeah, that's really weird too. So I think as much as it's political, I think the UFC should double down on their situation of having fair fights because Amanda Nunes fighting these other women is not freaking fair. So I'm not exactly sure as to what the UFC is thinking. And again, like I said, um, if and I'm asking men here, would you guys be able to beat up a gay dude that stands right in front of you? And I have nothing against gay people, but it's just the logic behind it. I mean, yeah, I mean, any straight man is gonna be able to beat up a gay guy. Similarly, a lesbian chick is gonna be able to beat up a thing. What do you call it? Any regular woman. So, I mean, yeah, I mean that's my take on the whole Amanda Nunes and the double belts thing. It's like Jesus Christ, man. That thing can be more fair, okay? I actually don't even think that she should be allowed to compete in a situation like that. So um we'll see what the UFC does because it's certainly not fair. Um and honestly, to go to the main event, and this is probably one of the fights throughout the night I didn't have any issues with. The main event was amazing. Israel Adesanya, man, the guy is such a champ. Even though he didn't win the fight against Jan Blachowicz, but Israel Adesanya is Israel Adesanya. The guy is a legend. He's done it all in the middleweight division. The guy is very skillful. He won, I believe, 1 or 2 rounds. They were really, really close. I personally thought that it was actually 2-2 going into the fifth. Similarly, it was similarly like that with Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum fight. It was 2-2 going into the fifth. And previously in all of Adesanya's fights, I had Adesanya winning, but I knew that Jan was gonna be a little bit bigger and stronger and had that grappling and wrestling ability. So I knew that Jan was gonna be able to get the victory against Adesanya. And unfortunately, I didn't bet just because I was busy with some other stuff on Saturday while watching the fight. But might do a video on that later too. But realistically, yeah, I liked the main event a lot. It was really cool. It was very exciting. 2-2 going into the fifth. I mean, how else would you want the fight to be playing out, right? I mean, that's as close as it gets if it's gonna go to decision. And Jan had to do what he had to do to get the win. I mean, obviously, I said actually, prior to UFC 259 that if the fight actually goes to decision, I actually had Adesanya winning, but I didn't see it going to decision because I had Jan winning, but actually, yeah, Jan was able to get the victory, and that's when his wrestling and grappling abilities played well for him, and got him to that result. So Adesanya needs to work a bit more on his ground game. But look, whenever you're stepping up a weight division and you're going and fighting for the belt, the champion, in the next division that's higher in weight, then it's gonna be a problem when you get to the ground because they're heavier. And for Adesanya's case, who doesn't have too much of a ground game, you know, it was only expected that Jan would eventually get him to the ground and try to be on top of him and win rounds that way too. So I actually thought that Adesanya was gonna get finished by Jan because again I said that if the fight was gonna go to distance that Adesanya would win, but obviously it didn't. But Jan did get the victory, so that was really cool. To watch that play out that way, and it was something nobody expected. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. And for the rest of the card, there were a lot of exciting fights. I found the Dominic Cruz and Casey Kenny, I believe. That fight was really interesting. That was a close one. Um, it looks like Dominic still, has it in him, but yeah, those two were literally slugging it out. So that was a classic Dominic Cruz performance. If you guys were watching it, so that was really entertaining. And yeah, the entire fight card was entertaining, and I'd overall rate UFC 259 as amazing. It was good. The fights were entertaining. It was close. But yeah, the third fight and the co-main event, man. They gotta look back at those and process that because um, I mean, I don't know, man. That ref was a little bit biased too because he told Petroyan to not throw a knee, but what happened was I think he got confused and thought that you know Aljamain Sterling, I'm not even sure what happened honestly, but I heard that his corner told Petro something where he actually went ahead and threw the knee. So I'm not exactly sure, but the point is that you know the ref being slow in the process and Aljamain just being on the ground messed everything up. That caused Petroyan to be confused, and I can see it because I've had a similar situation happen to me, not in a fight, but in an instance where I was misled by a situation that I thought would otherwise be in in a non favor to me, and did what I had to do, and that caused some animosity. So it all depends, but again, I mean, the ref being slow and all that stuff, it's a fight game. I mean, Petrion is gonna take advantage of him and do what he has to do, and the fact that Petrion gets disqualified like that is you know absolutely stunning because Aljamain Sterling was probably jumping around and hopping around when he got that belt. So when he went to a private room or something. So I don't think the guy was hurt. So the guy faking it to not be able to fight just because he got kneed on the head. I mean, take your loss like a champ, man. You know. But yeah, that was very frustrating to see. I don't want to see that again. Um. So I mean, if someone gets kneed in the head, it should be disqualification, or they should entirely remove the rule. Um. Or what am I saying? If someone gets kneed in the head, it should be a no contest, not a disqualification. I'm sorry. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, awarding the other fighter the belt that was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. The guy got his, the guy got beat up the entire fight, and you give him the belt. Come on, man. Yeah, that's my take on it. But let me know what the rest of you guys think about UFC 259. I mean, it was definitely amazing and exciting. I mean, you know, that whole situation was, you know, fun to watch too at the same time actually. But Yeah, I'm really pissed at the results, man. Yo, Dana White, pay Petriano's win money, man. So yeah, be good out there, guys. Drop those comments. Let me know what you guys think about UFC 259. Let me know if you guys thought that it was a good performance by the fighters, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later, guys. Peace.